Using biomass to produce energy is often touted as an essential renewable energy source to combat the climate crisis. Skeptics, though, have long suspected the practice isn't as green as its promoters suggest. Now a Mongabay investigation and a whistleblower from Enviva, the world's largest biomass producer, casts even more doubt over this industry. I'm Justin Catanoso, a journalist at Mongabay, and this is me talking to a truck driver at a logging site where many of the trees will be turned into wood pellets at Enviva's nearest manufacturing plant. The wood pellets the company produces in the U.S. Southeast are mostly exported to the United Kingdom and the European Union to be burned in converted coal-fired power plants. On November 3, 2022, I traveled to Edenton in eastern North Carolina to observe the final clear-cutting of a dense, 52-acre lot of hardwood and pine owned by the town of Edenton. I ended up here several months after I was contacted by an Enviva employee who has serious concerns about the company's credibility when it comes to its wood harvesting practices and climate-friendly assertions. After 4 years writing about biomass energy, this is the first time a whistleblower from this sector has ever come forward. He told me, quote, "We take giant whole trees. We don't care where they come from. The notion of sustainably managed forests is nonsense. We can't get wood into the mills fast enough," unquote. Enviva claims it does not accept wood from sites that can't be replanted with new trees. But an Edenton town official confirmed that the 52-acre clear-cut lot is intended for industrial development, with no plans to replant any trees. The logger on site confirmed to me that roughly half the trees felled on the lot were chipped and sent to Enviva's wood pellet making plant in Ahoskie, about 30 miles away. Larger stem wood was stacked in piles and would go to sawmills to become lumber. Enviva claims it doesn't take whole trees to make wood pellets, but rather uses wood residues such as waste, limbs, and treetops from logging sites and sawmills. I witnessed the opposite. Trees ranging in estimated diameter from 8 to 18 inches or more were chipped as I watched and loaded on trucks destined for Enviva. Limbs and branches were not collected and were instead strewn as debris across the site. Our whistleblower also told me, quote, "The company says that we use mostly waste like branches, treetops, and debris to make pellets. What a joke. We use 100% whole trees in our pellets. We hardly use any waste. Pellet density is critical. You get that from whole trees, not junk," unquote. Later that same day at Enviva's pellet plant in Ahoskie, I observed a long line of trucks, each carrying 40 tons of wood chips, arriving at 5-minute intervals. They've been coming all day. 15 were in line to unload, including the truck I saw loaded in Edenton. Based on what I observed, I estimate that as many as 50 to 60 truckloads of chips arrive here daily, coming from a 50-mile radius around the Ahoskie plant in North Carolina's coastal plain. That's about 20,000 tons of former forest delivered as wood chips daily to be dried and pressed into wood pellets. Enviva has 3 larger pellet plants in eastern North Carolina and 1 in southern Virginia. It has 6 other plants in the Deep South. Deforestation from logging in the U.S. Southeast, partially to meet Enviva's accelerating demand for wood pellets, continues to expand rapidly. This logging is legally destroying natural forests and biodiverse habitats in the region, degrading natural storm mitigation in states prone to hurricanes and flooding. It's also reducing the region's capacity as one of the continental United States' most important carbon sinks. Enviva says its biomass comes from a region where forest carbon stocks are stable and increasing. Independent research confirms the opposite. Enviva says that its biomass comes from harvest practices that safeguard biodiversity. In other words, no clear cutting. I witnessed the opposite. Enviva says its biomass comes from forest land that is returned to forests after harvest, and not from land that will be converted into agriculture or development. I witnessed the opposite. This is Justin Catanoso, reporting from Mongabay.